The energy around our defense feels electric lately. Rams house. We have two big updates today. First, a legendary retired player with 111 sacks might return, but a $30 million hurdle remains. Second, an undrafted edge rusher just dropped 10 pressures in one game. I will reveal both guys soon. Stick around for both. Comment what city you are watching from, hit like, and subscribe toward our 2,000 subscriber goal. Aaron Donald remains retired from the Los Angeles Rams while he and the team discuss potential contract and financial logistics regarding a possible return to play. Having left in March 2024 after 10 legendary seasons, he finished his tenure with 111 sacks, 543 tackles, 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, and that iconic Super Bowl LVI ring. Now, at 35, the reality of a potential comeback is hitting home. According to Adam Schefter, the situation is complex because he is technically still under contract for $30 million. I ask you, is that a price tag the front office can actually justify on an already expensive roster featuring new deals for Matthew Stafford, Myles Garrett, and Trent McDuffie? Albert Breer noted on The Rich Eisen Show that financial feasibility is a major hurdle. And I'll be straight with you, I am excited about the prospect of seeing him back on the field, but I also want to pump the brakes a little because money is clearly a roadblock here. With the team currently sitting at only $15 million in cap space, a simple return is not as easy as just signing a name on a piece of paper. He has already completed 2 official workouts with the club this month, proving he is still serious about staying in shape. Head coach Sean McVay has been supportive, stating that the defender has earned the right to take his time before making a final decision. Can he truly find the comfort level required to play like the version of himself that dominated the trenches for a decade? With a deadline set for Week 14 to come off the reserve list, we are left wondering how this financial compromise will play out behind the scenes between his representatives and our leadership team. How do we reconcile a potential legend returning when the math simply does not add up for our front office? Getting him back on the roster after he retired in March 2024 is the dream. But we must acknowledge the brutal reality of his remaining $30 million deal. Does that figure represent a realistic starting point for negotiations, or is it a barrier that prevents this reunion from ever happening? And this is the part that gets me because Albert Breer highlighted on The Rich Eisen Show that this isn't just about the salary cap, but about the sheer logistics of integrating a massive payday for a guy who has been out of the game for a year. With only $15 million in space currently available, Stan Kroenke and our leadership are facing a genuine squeeze. We are talking about fitting that massive cash hit alongside our significant investments in stars like Matthew Stafford and Myles Garrett. I am looking at this situation and wondering if a compromise contract is even possible, or if the financial hurdles are too high to clear by that Week 14 cutoff date. Think about the history here. He leaves behind 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards and a ring. But expectations for his performance at age 35 are inevitably tied to that previous legacy. Can he realistically return to being that same wrecking ball in the trenches after such a long layoff? The coaching staff clearly respects him enough to let him take his time, but behind the scenes, they have a roster to manage and strict budgets to honor. Watching this play out feels like a high-stakes chess match where every dollar counts against our future flexibility, making me truly question if both sides can actually find common ground. Now let us get into the update regarding an absolute breakout star who is quickly becoming the most intriguing name on our roster. Undrafted free agent edge rusher Wesley Bailey, who arrived from Louisville, has officially forced his way into the conversation with a massive performance against the New Orleans Saints. I watched the film from that preseason game and the impact was undeniable. Bailey recorded 1 sack, 1 forced fumble, 4 quarterback hits, and 10 total pressures. To put that into perspective, he produced double the pressures of any other player during that entire week. According to True Media, he is only the 3rd player since 2017 to hit those specific metrics in a single exhibition game. Is this the real deal, or are we getting ahead of ourselves? I am genuinely excited, but I also want to pump the brakes a little because he is 25 years old and had only 6 sacks in his final collegiate season. Still, don't sleep on this guy. Head coach Sean McVay mentioned that you could feel his presence all day, which carries real weight coming from the top. The bottom line here is that Bailey has surged from a long-shot practice squad candidate to a legitimate contender for the final 53-man roster. Seeing a guy with this motor wreak havoc in the trenches is exactly what our defense needs to generate some depth behind the starters. He is joining names like Micah Parsons and Aiden Hutchinson on an elite list of defenders to record 10 pressures in a single game since 2023. Can Bailey maintain this pace when the snap counts tighten up against regular season starters? That remains the million-dollar question, but right now, he has earned every bit of the spotlight he is currently receiving from the coaching staff. Breaking onto the roster from a practice squad standing is never easy. Yet watching those tape highlights reveals why everyone is suddenly whispering his name around the facility. With Wesley Bailey posting 10 pressures against New Orleans, he has essentially forced our front office to reconsider their entire defensive depth chart. Does he truly have the natural twitch to terrorize offensive tackles when the lights shine brightest? That remains a fair concern. Yet he is now officially in the same company as elite disruptors like Micah Parsons, Jonathan Cooper, Aiden Hutchinson, and Trey Hendrickson. And I cannot stress this enough. The sheer statistical rarity of someone recording a sack, a forced fumble, and 4 quarterback hits in one outing is why the coaching staff is buzzing. My honest take here is that while his age of 25 is older for a breakout candidate, that level of production against professional competition is impossible to ignore. Some might argue that preseason intensity rarely mirrors the tactical complexity of standard regular season snap counts, which is a valid point, yet he clearly showcased a high motor that we simply cannot afford to cut. If he sustains this output, he provides a massive upgrade for our defensive rotations. Is it realistic to expect this level of dominance every single week when the schemes grow far more sophisticated? Perhaps not, but he has certainly earned his seat at the table. Seeing a player jump from a late college producer to a legitimate roster threat tells me that our developmental program is finally hitting its stride where it matters most. He has seized the moment, and I think he deserves every opportunity to prove that this performance was no fluke, regardless of how skeptics might view his transition from college to our professional system. When you put both of today's stories together, the picture that emerges for the Los Angeles Rams is a franchise balancing legendary past glory against the desperate need for future production. The truth is, we are watching a massive tug of war between nostalgia and necessity as our leadership navigates the salary cap constraints involving Aaron Donald's potential comeback and the rise of a hungry newcomer like Wesley Bailey. If the front office decides to allocate significant portions of that limited $15 million in cap space to a returning veteran, does that move inadvertently stall our ability to nurture and retain young, cheap talent like Bailey? This situation defines the next few seasons for us because every dollar spent on a past star represents a direct trade-off for the depth and speed we need in the trenches. I find myself wondering if the organization is prepared to sacrifice roster flexibility for the sake of one final run with our greatest defensive anchor. Are you willing to see us exhaust our remaining cap space to bring back a retired legend at the risk of losing depth players? Furthermore, given his explosive preseason performance, do you believe Wesley Bailey has done enough to guarantee his spot on the final 53-man roster? I really want to hear what you think about these tough decisions in the comments section below. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. I am still pushing toward our first 2,000 subscribers, and every one of you helps me get there. Rams House. I will see you in the next one. Whether you are a die-hard fan living in Los Angeles or supporting the team from across the globe, your passion truly fuels these daily updates.